Hi guys, I'm sitting here today with Aygul Abizgildina. Aygul, you're an architectural designer. You work in a very interesting sort of niche avenue of architectural design in which you use cinema to illustrate and sort of create a vibe for an interior space. And I'm so interested to know how you got to that point in your career, how you chose that as a career. And you grew up in Russia, outside of Ufa, is that right?
Thank you for a quick introduction. Yes, you're right. I grew up in Russia in a small city, but it's called Stirlitamak. It's right next to Ufa. I'm an architectural designer with the side of cinematography. Architecture changed my perception of beauty, and I'm attentive to the signals, details of my surroundings, trying to explore, capture, and amplify them. From that, I learned to explore the landscapes of my consciousness and create introspective imagery. My passion for architecture inspired me to learn the skills in the representation of graphic design and digital programs. I continue searching for ways to push the boundaries of realism and capture a surrealistic illustration of the external world. So, my story began when I was 14. My parents sent me to the UK, where I started my education in architecture. After getting the bachelor's degree, I decided to pursue a degree in film and architecture. There, I was engaged in non-traditional degree architectural cinematography, and at the same time, I started a master degree program in the US.
What really struck me watching your movies was that they, if somebody were to say to me, this is cinematic architecture, architectural cinema, all of your projects that I've seen completely differ from what my thought of that would be, which is my thought is that it would be a very kind of stuffy corporate style video that I might see in the lobby of like the Fox News building or something, showing me like, this is what our new wing is going to look like. And your projects are so, while being so specific, of course, with the space and the place and giving such a keen view of that throughout. The thing that really strikes me is you're also coming from a really informed place of like genre, cinematic genre, and would seem to me that you're working through a lot of influences on that. And can you talk to me a little bit about the movies that have really influenced you, or the directors too, the genres that have sort of guided you as you've directed your own shorts?
One of my favorite movies called Columbus by Kogonada. The film walks you through and show you architecture through the eyes of two main characters, which are truly inspired by architecture and the surroundings. Each scene represents how interior and exterior spaces are important to the main characters. And I would describe Columbus as a film which can give you the feeling of stillness and quietness. And that's why I love this movie. I film my experimental movies in a pitch dark room, so by seeing the scene, viewer can use imagination to recreate the space the way how he perceived the image. One of the techniques in my movies, in my work, I use the technique called Kuleshov effect. It's made by a filmmaker back in 1910. His name was Lev Kuleshov. So Kuleshov effect is basically a montage technique where you can interrupt two scenes with a single shot, and depending on what you put in that single shot, you can create a completely different meaning to a whole scene. So by using this technique, I can portray the same space differently in a variety of moods depending on what viewer wants to see. And essentially, I'm feeding a seed to a viewer, which will then germinate inside their head. But also, besides my experimental movies, I always ask this question: how can I use my filming skills in architecture and how film can help clients, for example. I used film at my first job working as an architectural designer, and I created a short clips or animations to the client to represent the space. And the film can be used as a marketing tool and can easily explain the main intent of the design to the client.